This episode of Rookie Hunter is proudly brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Become a member, renew your membership, and join the Less Than One Club at wildsheepfoundation.org. And make sure to check out Sheep Fever, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Foundation. Do your part to put and keep wild sheep on the mountain. Hey guys, welcome to episode 155. I'm very excited to welcome Gray Thornton. That's a name you should know by this point. On this show, he is the president and CEO of the Wild Sheep Foundation, and happy to call him a good friend and a longtime supporter of the show. We covered a lot of stuff in a short amount of time on this podcast. We did a recap of Sheep Show 2024. We talked a bit about the power of welcoming non-hunters into the community and how that can stretch as far as influencing AI. How do you like that? There's a vague teaser for you. And we also got into a bit of fishing. And what I really wanted to talk about was some stones captures that happened right here in British Columbia. So all that and more in this episode. I'm just going to keep reminding you guys too that you can book your hotel for Sheep Show 2025. And I know that's a long ways away. But it's already 50% sold out, if not more than that at this point, for the Pepper Mill, and that is where you're going to want to be for Sheep Show. You can book your room now. They are refundable if for some reason you decide you can't go or something gets in the way. And for BC residents, sheep counts are happening throughout the province. I'm recording this on Thursday morning. I'm heading up to Kamloops on Saturday for the count there and pint night. So very much looking forward to that. There are more dates lined up for British Columbia. So make sure you follow the Wild Sheep Society BC on Instagram or Facebook. They've been sharing all the dates there. And if you're interested, contact information is all there. So hope to see some of you guys out at some of those. But let's get into this episode. Sit back, relax, crack a nice cold beer, and enjoy episode 155 with Gray Thornton. Gray, how are you?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing great. Good to be on the program. It's been a long time, and I know we've been trying this for a while.
Yeah. I always appreciate you setting some time aside to come on here and chat. And we got lots to cover today. Let's start with some fun stuff. We're getting an early spring here, and it sounds like Montana's having some nice weather too. You got any hunt plans, or?
Actually do. We last June we were up in southern BC in the South Chilcotin chasing black bear. It was actually Rebecca Peters and Renee, and then Brandy Love. And so we're kind of reciprocating in part. So Brandy's actually coming down here next week, and Renee and I are going to host her because she was not the hunter. Rebecca and Renee were. So she was not the hunter, so we're giving her an opportunity to hunt bear in Montana. So
that's exciting.
I've been gone too darn much, but so I'm gonna spend the weekend. I got a hall pass. I got a bachelor weekend, so I'm gonna go fly fishing with a buddy on Saturday, and then I've got to paint a ceiling, and then and do some scouting for some bear hunting. So
perfect.
It'll be a great weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I've just been absolutely running flat out. So R&R is definitely in the cards.
Good. Yeah, you need it. Do you do any turkey hunting at all?
Not a great deal. I've taken 2 Rio Grande. It was fun. That was many moons ago when I first went to Dallas Safari Club.
Yep.
I'm just not that mad at turkeys.
Right. Everybody's talking about turkeys right now, and I haven't turkey hunted, and so I don't know what I'm missing out on. But guys that are into it seem to just love it. So
Man, isn't that the truth? I mean, there was a guy, and this was back in the '80s, and I was elk hunting with him and some other buddies. We just met him at a camp that we stayed in, campground in Colorado, and this guy was from Arkansas, and he was quite the avid elk hunter.
Hmm.
But let me tell you what, turkey hunting was religion to him. And he said,
Right.
his name was Junior of all things, but Junior said, man, I will hunt turkey over anything. So
Really?
yeah, I guess if you're into it, you're really into it.
Yeah, seems that way. I've said this a few times on the last couple of podcasts, but since we talked to Renee and her black bear hunt story, just got me fired up for the season, man. I can't wait to get out there. And sounds like bears are already waking up around here at the lower elevations. And once the snow melts up a little higher, we'll start going up there too. But did a bit of scouting, haven't found any sign yet, but it's close. So.
And Mike, I think we're pretty similar. We had a very, unlike last year, we had a very, very mild winter.
Yeah.
The bridgers are, the snow's receding. So I told Brandy it's a little early, would be better in about a month. But then the other side of that, chatting with some friends here that know a heck of a lot more about black bear hunting in Montana than I ever will. And they were saying, hey, look, the good thing on early is, you find a boar in a nice grass area, chances are that boar is going to be back. So you're going to have multiple opportunities, or at least potentially do. And then, some of my, really avid and accomplished black bear hunting friends here said, hey, it's also an opportunity to take a real nice boar. So anyway, we're going to have a good time. And she comes in Wednesday and we'll hunt Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So she and Renee will be hunting. I'll just packer and
perfect
chief cook, bottle washer and backup gun, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, that's always fun too. So that's good. Cool, man. So we're a little overdue on this, but I wanted to do a bit of a recap on Sheep Show 2024. So you guys smashed records. You had record attendance. I was watching all the highlights on Instagram, like, shit, man, I wish I was there because it just looked like, every year looks awesome, but this year in particular, just looked like so much good stuff was happening. So pick some highlights, man, and maybe share, how you guys did for the auctions and some of the new events you tried out.
Yeah, and thank you, Mike. And it it actually has been a while. I mean, you look at it, we're now in almost mid-April. A couple of days mid-April, and that was 4 months ago. I think in one word, I would just say magical.
Nice.
The event was absolutely magical, and yes, records were broken. 13 new permit records. $6.7 million in monies raised that are going to be going towards agencies. We
that's
sold
amazing.
the Marco Polo 100 membership for $1 million.
Yeah, that's
on
insane.
Auction. 10 gentlemen and ladies joined together and each pledged $100,000 apiece. And that Super 10, created $1 million into our endowment system. That was amazing. Saturday night was just one of those, and I don't know if we could ever repeat it. I think it was $6.7 million in 60 auction items, and of course that's not just permits. So, the average was $107,000 per item.
That's crazy.
The crowd, the guests. I think we sold 2,400 tickets for the Saturday night alone. Plus, we probably had 200 to 300 that were lining the walls, having a cold beverage and watching the festivities. Everyone was focused. The evening program. Our crowd loves to chat and visit, and we're having a good time. But my goodness, they were quiet. They were listening. How we scripted the event was a lot of emotional highs and then emotional lows that just touched people.
Cool.
It was so focused on not only the resource, but the wild sheep family.
Yeah.
And that just shone through. So it really was, it was a magical event. And then, I think this is really, really important for, for us to follow, think, and reflect on. But especially with Rookie Hunter, we were an early adopter, obviously the initial sponsor, and proud to be so. And what we were so excited about is, your mission to reach out to those new guys and gals. So here's a story, and I mentioned it in my presence letter in the spring issue of the magazine that's going to be in the mail on Monday, I think.
Perfect.
And I just presented this to the board, and it's really all about, Mike, the family.
Yep.
And Renee and I are very fortunate to, we live in a rural property, and we only have 2 neighbors on about a mile of dirt road. And they're both about a third of a mile away from us. And one of them is a vacation home for a very, very, very high level tech executive,
right,
of the largest tech company in the world. So you can think through on it's not an orange. So in any way, he's a very, very high level executive with Apple. His wife was an executive as well, and now she just enjoys philanthropy, and she's an accomplished artist.
Wow.
They're very, very good friends of ours. They have 2 wonderful children, but it's a vacation home to them. They're non-hunters. They live in California, vacation home in Montana. I fly fish with their son.
Nice.
Taught him how to fly fish in many ways. Got him his first carp on a fly. For those of you that know me, know that I'm a carp addict and guilty as such. But again, they're non-hunters. We've been to some pretty shishi events with them out in the Palo Alto area, Bay Area of California, black tie events. They know what we do. They're intrigued, and they said, "Hey, we would really like to come to the sheep show." And I thought, "Whoa!" So long and short, we invited them to the show. They came in on a red eye, attended the ladies' luncheon. She did. He walked the halls, and then Saturday night, where they were with us, they walked the halls again on Saturday, and Friday night they were with us. Walked the halls on Saturday, and then were with us Saturday night. They had a great time, but more importantly, Mike, we had asked them. I said, "Well, what do you think of the show?" Again, non-hunters, and oh, by the way, how are you treated? And to the T, they both said that number one, hey, we're going to be back. We will not miss a sheep show. And I said, wow. And I said, well, again, how are you treated? And they said, we were made to feel so welcome.
Yeah.
They were, hey, what's your name? And they'd tell them, great. Well, you got any hunts planned? Well, we don't hunt. And instead of the, oh my God, it was, oh, wow. Well, do you ever think about hunting? And they said, well, yeah, we're thinking about it. And, the long story short, he wants to start hunting. He had actually applied last year for Montana tags and didn't get it. So he's going, Gray, I really want to go hunting with you. She wants to get into, she's going to apply for our woman hunt program, but
cool.
Not getting into that and those 12. She's very interested in, because Renee's program is starting to branch out and actually doing paid industry course type things. So you can actually just pay to play. Huh. And she couldn't make this one that they're going to do the end of this month. But she's in. So, it's not Renee and me that are due the credit for introducing, 2 very influential people in the tech world to the Wild Sheep Foundation, our family. It was the family that welcomed them.
Yeah,
so
cool.
It's a cool story, but there's more to it. We look at AI and we look at what's going on in the world there. I got a phone call from him and he said, hey, I just want to let you know of something that was going on in our high level team and senior level leadership. And And, this giant tech company was talking about algorithms and what they would do and what they wouldn't do. And somebody had mentioned in a meeting that, we got to make sure that we're protecting and, holding up to our standards, and certain things that, someone wanted to draw an image, we wouldn't do. And the discussion kind of melded into, we wouldn't, if somebody asked us to draw a hunter with a dead animal, we wouldn't want our platform to do that.
Right.
And this is a senior level discussion. And this guy went, whoa, wait a minute. Why not? And this discussion went on, and he said, I have a place in Montana, and I know hunters, and I'm quite frankly kind of interested in maybe hunting myself. But, I know that, they provide food for their family. First and foremost, it's a legal activity, been done for, eons. And, my uncle is a hunter. And then this gentleman's boss, and, we're talking very, very high level, says, my uncle used to hunt ducks, or when I was a kid, I know he did, and he's a good guy. Moral of the story, Mike, is, this relationship, the sheep family, having a relationship with these people from a standpoint of welcoming us into the community may have just changed an algorithm in the world of tech that we know is controlling our lives.
That's amazing.
Huge. I know this might be a wee bit off on what you wanted to talk on the sheep show.
No.
But personally, I think that's right on. We talk a lot about the numbers. Yeah, millions of dollars were raised. We're going to end up directing $9.2 million this year into mission program funding.
That's amazing.
That's another $1.7 million more than last year.
Wow.
But in all honesty, so what?
Right.
So what? Numbers mean nothing. Actions, what we do, how we treat others, how we move the needle. In all honesty, I think them attending the sheep show was a transformational moment that we may never know the impact that had.
Yeah,
but it may have just changed the tech company's position on hunting, sustainable use, and it's gone further. I could go on and on. I've been, at least there's a potential that I'm going to go give a TED talk on their campus to talk to them about hunting. I certainly hope it happens. I told him, man, I will be on an airplane in a heartbeat.
Nice.
So really, really cool. And thank you for enduring that story. But I think it shows the impact of the sheep show and the sheep foundation family.
Yeah. The cool thing about sheep shows is it's such a level playing field. You've got people from all walks of life there, and we all have, that one thing in common, and we find out we have many things in common once we start talking to everybody. And I think that's the important thing is, we might not all have the same hobbies and interests, but the vast majority of us agree on more than we disagree on. So we just got to find those things that we agree on and focus on those. And who cares about the rest, right? You can worry about that on your own, but we as a whole can do a lot more together. So
right on. We all love wildlife. We all love clean ecosystems. We all love healthy ecosystems. We want clean water, clean air, and we want places that we can recreate. And,
exactly.
Yes, we're sheep, and that's the thing that may bring us together. But the real thing that brings us together is that common ground. So you're so right. Often we bang around the edges and argue on the 80% that we don't agree on. Why don't we figure out the 20% we do and focus on that? Yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah.
And that story just proves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're talking to. That's the other thing you should keep in mind too. Right.
No doubt. But, so we did some new things at the sheep show this year. We pride ourselves on always trying to be innovative.
Yeah.
If you're just staying static, you're falling behind. So,
absolutely.
We did a couple of new things this year. We kind of obviously we expanded the hall. It was quite a bit larger. We pretty much fully populated Hall 3. We're now oversubscribed on exhibitors, so we're going to move the art display, which was new for us. We're going to move that out into a common area outside of the hall in 2025. We created a full curl cinema, which was something new for us for first time. We had a whole bunch of cool premieres of films, video content. We learned some things. I mean, quite frankly, we probably had too much, and we just tried. We're so apt to put 20 kilos of poop in a 2 kilo bag. But, we did it with our full curl cinema, and we'll make some changes next year.
Yeah.
And okay, let's trim down the features and premieres and just not have such a full schedule. But that went very, very well. It just a lot of fun. And as you pointed out, some new marketing things that we did. It really brought home both the registered guests that are coming to the show and the evening banquets, and then some changes in marketing and some new things. With our campaigns and reaching out to some partners and friends, we had a record number of day traffic people, and we're already working next year on some clever ideas to make it even better. So
very cool.
Never sit back. Always think of something new, and man, I'm already looking forward to 2025.
Yeah, I bet. Is there still lots of room to keep growing in Reno, or is it going to reach a certain point where you got?
Yeah, great question. And I just got back from Reno and some little challenges. The Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority came up with this grand plan to put a indoor track into Hall 4. Hall 4 is currently what we use for our youth event.
Okay.
That was a record. 30 some odd hundred people, 1,800 kids came Saturday alone.
Awesome.
I mean, it just, Ryan Brock, just a phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable amount of energy. And boy, does he keeps knocking the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're moving out of necessity. We're going to be moving the Youth Wildlife Conservation Experience into Hall 5. We lose a little bit of overall, about 30,000 square foot of space, and they're going to have this track in Hall 4 that needs to only impact us in 2025, because quite frankly, we are going to be fully populated in halls 1, 2, and 3. We're already 1, 2, but 3 in 2025, and Hall 4 is our growth plan. So. Yeah, I'm probably more than you needed to hear, but I'm kind of battling a little bit with the center right now.
Right.
Because, the track is designed to be able to be put down and then taken out. So,
gotcha.
Negotiating right now on some compensation for Wild Sheep Foundation for the fact that it's not being taken out in 2025. It will be taken out in 2026.
There we go. Perfect. I've been reminding people in my intros that they can book their rooms already, and it seems like it's a long ways away for 2025. But you guys are already 50% booked, right?
This is at the Peppermill. We just opened back, opened up the Atlantis as well. The bottom line is the show is, becoming rapidly what they call a citywide. And we have, we've got a very, very large block in the Peppermill. We're actually trying to get more rooms there. We have a significant block at the Atlantis. We're trying to get more rooms there. We will also reach out, like we did this year, to the Grand Sierra, and we'll have a room block there.
Nice.
Grand Sierra actually provided as a benefit to the Wild Sheep Foundation busing on their nickel to the hall last year or this year, 2024. Yep. We hope we can get them to do that again. So, do not delay. We sold out the Peppermill in early November.
Right.
Last year. You are absolutely right. We're over 50% subscribed and booked at the Peppermill now, and it's only April.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I think Mike Eazzi kind of looked and went, "Ooh, I better make sure my exhibitors get in there too." So
yeah,
get on our website. You can book your rooms now. I strongly encourage you to do so. It's going to be another record breaker for sure. And as we know, those records, they're not for wild sheep. They end up for the resource, and that's something that we know that the beautiful stone sheep in British Columbia, your bighorns in British Columbia, and the Dalls and the Rockies and the deserts all over North America are what we're all about.
Yeah, awesome, man. I want to switch gears a little bit. Anything else you want to say about Sheep Show before we switch it up?
Be watching for registration.
Okay.
Get in early. Our banquet sold out this year. Same thing. Read the tea leaves. If the hotel rooms are selling out, that means our banquets are too. So
yeah, sure.
We're going to have some cool registration incentives. I think I was just on a call on registration. We plan to go live on August 1st. So get in and get in early.
Good to know. Awesome. We'll obviously keep everybody posted on that. And I've been putting a link for hotel bookings in the show notes, and I'll put that in there for this one.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah. I actually want to talk about fishing a little bit. And you have a post-Sheep Show ritual that I find interesting. I don't think we've talked about it, but you take off to Pyramid Lake. So tell me a bit about that.
I do. I had seen photos, and I'd heard of these crazy guys that put ladders in this lake, and
it's a wild looking setup, man.
Fly fish or spin cast or whatever. I fly fish off these ladders. I go, what the heck's up with that? Anyway, I've got a very, very close Kiwi outfitter friend, and he's the father of my godson. In New Zealand, and he has a buddy that's an Alaskan outfitter, but lives in Truckee, California, and this guy would go fish Pyramid Lake, and so my buddy Shane started showing me pictures. He goes, "Dude, after the Sheep Show, I go up the Pyramid." I go, "Oh, is that the time of year?" He goes, "Yeah, no, that's." So anyway, I look at these monster Lahontan cutthroat trout.
Yeah,
they're the biggest cutthroat trout I think in the world. We've caught 21 pounders, 20 pounders, 19 pounders.
Wow.
And so this has now kind of become my big time decompress.
Yeah.
And I'll usually host a couple of exhibitors, but after the Sheep Show, we go on to the Paiute Indian Reservation there. It's about an hour northeast of Reno.
Okay.
We rent a trailer. I have 3 now. A buddy of mine's brought a ladder too. We have 3 of these podium ladders that we custom rig. You better dress warm. The best fishing is when it's blowing like crazy, snowing like crazy, and
really?
Absolutely miserable. But that churns up the water, and these monster Lahontan cutthroats come into the shallows and the drop off. So Mike, you bring your, you wade out, set up your ladder, make sure that it's secure. And I can tell you, I did not this year, and I went swimming. Not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, you then get up on top of the ladder, and the purpose of the ladder is, I think, number one, it gives you. It's almost like being on the front of a flats boat. It gives you some elevation, so you're casting these 250 grain sink lines or indicator fishing, and if you're chest deep in water. And trying to cast that, 12 hours a day, it just would wear you out, and you're going to end up hooking in the back. You're going to foul your line on the dirt and the grass and the weeds and everything else. So it gives you some elevation. And number 2, and maybe more important, it gets you out of the water because it is cold. Yeah, you're wadered up, you're clothed up, but standing that long, and
Yeah.
we'll get out there at daylight and fish till just after dark. So,
Oh, wow.
you've got a long day of fishing. And
Yeah.
then lastly, and probably equally important, I put rod holders on my rod, and also really nice, cool Scotty cup holders. That is very, very
Perfect.
important in the morning for your coffee, and equally important in the afternoon for your cold beer.
There you go.
We've done really, really well some years. This year, it was actually calm and warm and glassy water, and we had 3 of us, 3 days. We only caught 6 fish, so it was the slowest it's ever been for us. Still a great time. And,
Yeah, of course.
After the 10 days of grind of the sheep show pre and then during, it's just a great opportunity to stand on a ladder, cast a line, look out into some beautiful Nevada water and mountain ranges, and decompress.
It's I've flown over it. I've never been to it, but even looking down from a plane, it's a very visually stunning lake. The rock features and stuff like that. And
it really is. And it's what's fascinating about it. It's a enclosed lake and river ecosystem. You've got Lake Tahoe up there that's split between California and Nevada. Lake Tahoe flows into the Truckee River.
Right.
The Truckee River then flows through, throws the Sierras through Reno, and then the lower Truckee flows into Pyramid Lake. And that's it. So Pyramid Lake is fairly high alkaline.
Okay.
Very, very deep, but large enough that it's just evaporation. So pretty amazing that, Lake Tahoe, which is, the largest lake in the West, flows into a river that flows into another lake and goes nowhere.
That's
So,
pretty wild. Yeah.
there is rumor that there is a very, very deep cavern that goes all the way to China. And that is a rumor. It's kind of funny. It's a pretty spiritual lake. They're claimed to be water babies that can pull you in and kill you.
Oh, nice.
People do drown constantly in that lake because it just is dangerous from a wading standpoint. You fall off your ladder and you go into a deep hole and you wait. You can be in bad shape.
Totally.
I bounced around a little while and my buddy grabbed the ladder and pulled me, and all I had was a bruised ego and very, very wet clothes and filled, water-filled waders. But boating on the lake can be, happy outing, engine tragedy. Wind comes up, there's 4, 5, 6 foot waves.
Oh, wow.
Boats are sunk constantly. So
crazy.
You got to treat the lake with respect.
Yeah.
Your rewards are some monster cutthroat trout.
Yeah, awesome. Have to hit that up one day, put it on the list of things to do for sure.
I've got spots for next year.
Hey, that's good to know. Perfect. Sign me up.
Cool.
I don't want to run out of time, and there's something I want to cover. And you sent me some really cool photos, and you were up in northern British Columbia at the beginning of March, I think, somewhere around there for about 10 days. And you guys were doing stones captures up there. And you texted me those photos and like, oh man, I have so many questions, but I'm going to save it for when we do a podcast because there's, so many things I want to know about it. But let's just start with the capture program and, the reason behind it.
Yeah, and it's a cool story. It's no secret that stones are a absolutely iconic, beautiful, fabulous species, and honestly, we don't know enough about them. We don't know their exact population for a variety of reasons. We do know that they're facing some pretty serious challenges. Maybe it's access into their range. Maybe it's climate change. Maybe it's predation. Maybe it's all. And so, we years ago started a thin horn initiative that admittedly was more focused on stones, but we're ramping it up. And year or so back, 2 years back, I had made a statement at our Thin Horn Summit that, we need to go bold for stone sheep. Spatsizi River Outfitters owner Mike Gilson heard that call and heeded that call, and he says, he operates in the Spatsizi Plateau Wilderness Park. Used to be the Collingwood brothers. They have a healthy population of stone sheep, but they know that it's down from its historic levels, and we want to know why. So anyway, he and I visited. He fully donated a stone sheep for our 2023 convention.
Nice.
You know how difficult that is to get 100% donate. But the deal was 100% of the dollars we raised was going to go right back into a project in the Spatsizi. It sold for $125,000, and anonymous donor came in, gave us another $100,000. So we had $225,000 to focus in on this project.
Wow.
He donated again this year. I think it sold for $140,000. The anonymous donor gave us another $80,000, and our Midwest chapter also really excited about it, and they pitched in some money. So anyway, the bottom line is we got about $500,000,
wow,
give or take, for this project. It's a 3-phased project. Phase 1 was some initial inventory work, helicopter flights in July of this last year to, they just had not, I think the last surveys had done in the Spatsizi in the early 80s.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking a long time ago.
Wow.
Never done any summer work. And it was kind of looking at habitats, looking at, those habitats. Not a lot of data there, but then the idea was, let's not just do survey work. Let's see what stone sheep do to pressure and non-consumptive pressure. It's not just the hunting, but backpackers and hunters and the like. And let's see what that does to them in their habitats, in their preferred habitats, in their summer range. Obviously, winter range is where we caught them. So. This concept came out of a meeting with Helen Swancha, former wildlife vet of BC, Bill Jex, who is the wild sheep and goat specialist for Ministry of Waterlands and Resource Stewardship, our own Kevin Hurley, and Mike Gilson. And they, at the Wild Sheep Society of BC Sheep Summit, they kind of came up with the parameters of this project. Bill Jex was the lead, but he brought in, obviously, a vet, Dr. Kylie Thacker, also brought in Crystal Chris, another fantastic biologist. And then, very, very important, we partnered with the Tahltan central government, the Tahltan Wildlife Department. Nice. This is Tahltan territory.
Yep.
So great collaboration with the Tahltan. And the idea was to go and trap and health assess, and then collar and then release 40 stone sheep, 20 rams, 20 ewes, all age class of the ewes, and all class 1 through class 4 of the rams.
Okay.
Compiled a team, great helicopter work. Tundra helicopters came in. We had 2 machines, a capture helicopter, and then a support helicopter. We had the Tahltan Wildlife Department people, BC Ministry people, myself, some folks from Spatsizi River Outfitters. And then we had a cameraman come in from South Africa.
Oh, really?
A guy that works with Dan Cabela and Hard Truths of Conservation that plays on the History Channel. And he,
very cool.
Dan wanted to capture some great footage. So Keenan was the guy, just a frickin' rock star of a film guy. He filmed the whole thing. So
that's awesome.
Amazing. We operated out of Highland Post, which is an in-holding there on the Spatsizi River. Very historic, very cool. Spatsizi River Outfitters owns it. We flew in helicopters and in an otter, and the plan was to spend 10 days there. Our temperatures were a wee bit cold, in Celsius from minus 25 to minus 41. As those know that Fahrenheit and Celsius come together at minus 40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We were right there. That was freaking cold. BC Ministry has a limitation on their team that they cannot fly in below minus 30. So we waited for it to get warm at about minus 29, and then we'd take off and warm, on those minus 41 mornings. But anyway, epic, incredible experience. We got to the point where this team, and we all participated, would net gun, then mug, and then hobble, blindfold, and then process. Rams and ewes. Typically, we were trying to do 2 at a time. We'd net one, team would jump out. We'd go over and net another, team would jump out. So we'd typically have 2 teams operating at the same time. Got down to about 20 minutes per sheep.
Wow.
We ended up capturing, processing, collaring 40 sheep in just a little under 5 days. I think it turned out to be, it was the morning of the 5th day that we captured the 40th ram, which was a class 4 ram. So incredible. And so that's phase 2. And then there's phase 3. And this is where resident hunters in BC and our partner Wild Sheep Society of BC, we're hoping to engage them. There's about 90 LEH. It's an LEH unit. There's about 90 LEH permits that are provided for the Spatsizi. We have tracking devices that we would like to put on 30 LEH holders and the guides for Spatsizi River outfitters. And the idea is we now have 3-year collars on these stone sheep. We're going to have data on where they're going. We want to see what the stone sheep do in relation to the hunters or the hikers or the guides. Yeah. And this has, maybe first and foremost, this has nothing to do with allocation. We don't get involved in that. That's BC's business. That's you all. You're, the residents and the guides and the outfit. That's your business. This is just trying to see kind of spatial data.
That's cool. Yeah.
What happens when, a guide and his client or her client or whatever goes into an area? What does it do? How do those stone sheep react? Obviously, we're getting data on where they're using, preferred habitat. Yeah. And, what do they, what happens from these LEH? What is it doing to these stone sheep? Where are they going? What habitats are they using? And, I asked Bill Jex, I said, are you planning to do this in any other areas? He goes, this is novel data for us. We've never had this kind of, non-consumptive reaction data.
Yeah, I was going to ask if this had ever been done before.
No, it hasn't. So it's completely novel. It's going to be really cool. We're going to do it over 3 years. So, that's 30 a year. So 90 trackers on humans. So we'll have trackers, voluntary, of course, trackers on humans, trackers on the sheep. Now, to the hunter, again, I'm going to be really, really clear. It has nothing to do with allocation. Right. And it also is not going to have anything to do with, oh, hey, that's your secret spot. This data is for the ministry, going to be really closely held on, not the where, but the what. Right. What did they do? Not where it was. Right. So, and that's critical. I mean, obviously we don't want to give away, some resident hunter's secret little honey hole that he knows or she knows where it is, or Spatsizi River outfitters. Yep. So that, we want to make that very, very clear. But, I'll take it a little step further in that. What else can we do on that? If we see that sheep are moving into maybe not as desirable habitats, and we do, and I certainly feel that stone sheep need a helping hand. Maybe there's some management actions that we can look at from this data. Maybe it's intensive predator control in certain areas. Maybe It's supplemental minerals that is legal and tested in certain areas to give, not to build ram horn, but to give lambs and ewes a helping hand. So I'm excited about it. I was just absolutely honored to be a part of it. I've been with the Sheep Foundation 16 years. I never get to go on these things because it's just they're just always in the winter, always around either our convention or some event. And this was one of those things that I said, you know what, I'm going to commit to 10 days and I'm going to be there. So
awesome.
Absolutely incredible experience, spiritual.
Yeah. Well, what was it like to handle those animals? We always see them from a distance, but
Mike, spiritual.
Yeah.
First, I'm very blessed to take a stone sheep, and it, like your Weimaraner. I mean, it was an August 1st opening day stone sheep, and it has Weimaraner hair.
Exactly. Yeah.
The first thing I would tell you is what shocked me. These are, this is now early March. Late season to say the very least. Those stone sheep had the deepest, darkest, thickest, matted hair that, you go, how the heck do they grow it that fast?
Yeah.
The other thing that amazed me is how easy it pulled out, because we did hair samples on right around the spine. We'd do a hair sample. But it was magical. I mean, to mug, and it got to the point where, I was working with, Fraser McDonald, who is just a freaking unbelievable guy, man amongst men. He's the net gunner, and he's jumping out of this helicopter. And I'm telling you, you're jumping out of a helicopter. You're towing in. You got a blade above your head. You're on the side of a mountain. It's minus, 25. And you're jumping out, ducking down, looking up, and then the helicopter backs away to tow in and drop off a few more people. You're not landing half the time. You're just towed in. And, to hold these, to get them out of the net, to blindfold them, to calm them down, to, hobble them to keep them safe, blood work, nasal swab, throat swab, hair sample, fecal sample. We then did a little DNA sample, used a ear punched it, and then ear tagged them.
Okay.
And then finally, and then a general health assessment, hey, is this a 1, 2, or 3, from a health standpoint, body fat, that kind of thing. And it's, that was a subjective, and Fraser pretty much did that. So we'd have consistency.
Yeah.
And then let them go. And, the first ewe we captured, big macho guy here, tears in my eyes.
Right.
Tears in my eyes to be able to handle this. And boy, I love hunting them. And I've taken one. But to be able to handle that beautiful resource, know what you're doing is for a noble cause to ensure their future. And then, watch them run away was just, again, I'm just going to tell you, it's spiritual.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Those photos were absolutely stunning, and just huge smiles on everybody that was there. The team looked absolutely incredible, and it takes a lot of, talented and intelligent people to pull something like that off. So pretty cool to see. And it's nice to see, those dollars at work doing incredible stuff like that. So yeah, hats off to everybody who's involved in making those things happen.
Yeah, and just the collaboration is what was so special. So it's it's now phase 3. It's now we're bringing in the the resident hunter, and they're going to be a part of a solution. So really cool. We're coming up with some ideas of because this is citizen science. We're reaching out to these LEH holders and buyers of of a hunt in SRO. But, there'll be a t-shirt, probably a Yeti mug of some, we're going to come up with some cool things because, we're asking you to, have a tracker. Obviously that data is going to be private and close hold. But you're going to be participating in some citizen science that's going to, hopefully, make some real strides for stone sheep enhancement.
Well, it'll obviously be a little while yet before we know the results of that, but it'll be very cool to see what happens.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, that's great, man. everybody, wants to be involved in a capture, but that's just not possible. Including myself.
Yeah, I wanted to for 16 years.
Yeah. And you're the president CEO, so it's
and
not
I know
that
a
easy.
guy.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. But there are sheep counts taking place in British Columbia. I'm not sure about other places, but I'll be up in Kamloops on the 20th to do some counts there.
cool.
And I think there's a bunch of them going on. So, anybody in BC who's interested can check out the Wild Sheep Study BC website for all that info. But any other things, any other ways that people can get involved?
Hey, keep looking at our website. We're doing some revamps. Julie Tripp, our director of publications, Keith Balford, our marketing communications director, is really doing a fix of our website. And it's not that, the bones are there, but I don't think the messaging was right. And the point I'm making is, I kind of said it when I was talking about the sheep show. I mean, Wild Sheep Foundation prides itself on raising unbelievable amounts of money and driving it into the resource. But that's not enough. It's not the money, it's what's accomplished and the why. And so we're really trying to focus in, Mike, on, we know the why, but why don't we do a better job of articulating the why? Yeah. And then we may not know the what's accomplished. I mean, we can give hundreds of thousands of dollars to a provincial or a state or territorial or First Nation or tribal agency. Do we really know what they're doing with it? And if we then, if we then do, well, then we feel, even though we're the ones raising the money for it, that it's also our responsibility to help them tell their story.
Right.
Because I think we're all going to benefit. And again, number one, the resource will. So that's a big part of what we're doing. So take a peek at our website. We've got a new conservation impact summary that we put together this year that shows what we did the most recent 22 and 23 fiscal. We got another conservation impact summary coming out, and it just shows it shows the why, but it also shows the what's accomplished, and really proud to see that. And then lastly, and I know we got to go, and you got a call to get on, but we have just launched an Epic Hunt series. We are offering a all-inclusive caribou hunt in Northwest Territories. The hunt's going to be in September 2025, and you're going to get to go hunting with Jana Waller Bear. And a little bit of sneak surprise, John Bear is going to be there too. So
nice.
It's $60 US for a ticket. If you're not a member of the Wild Sheep Foundation, that first $60 ticket you buy includes a $45 membership. So
right on.
You can't go wrong. So go to our website on that. Buy your tickets. We're going to draw it mid-July. It's a Q4 for us. So it's a April, May, June drawing and promotion. So
sweet.
Encourage you to get some tickets. It's not a sheep, but it's a pretty cool deal.
That's a dream hunt for me. That would be unreal.
The Serengeti of North America, NWT.
Absolutely. Great. Well, before we go, anything else you want to put out there? We always run out of time. I had more questions, but we'll have to do it again, man.
Sounds good. I appreciate you, Mike, and we appreciate being an avid supporter of Rookie Hunter podcast. Great group, great guests always, and I'm privileged and honored to be on. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the support, and we couldn't think of a better organization to be partnered with. So thank you, guys.
Right on.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
There you go, episode 155 with Gray Thornton. Hey, as you heard him say, there's a great opportunity to become a member of the Wild Sheep Foundation if you're not already. And that is by getting into the raffle, which gives you the opportunity to win an NWT mountain caribou hunt. So for the cost of $60 US, you get your name in the hat, and you also get membership to the Wild Sheep Foundation. So check that out. If you're not a member, great way to get in. And who knows, you might just win a trip to the NWT. That would be an absolute dream come true. So really appreciate Greg coming on the show. Lots of information in the show notes for you guys. The links to the pepper mill, links to the draw, And don't forget, sheep counts are taking place all over the province. Hope to see some of you guys up in Kamloops this weekend. Got some podcasts lined up, so we shall see you guys next week. Cheers.